Hi, I'm EJ Samson. I'm 35 and I'm from New York, born and raised. So I think like a lot of LGBTQ people, my coming out story really is a collection of coming out stories. First and foremost, starting with me coming out to myself. I grew up just outside of New York in the suburbs of Long Island, and I'm the son of Filipino immigrants. I would say that as a first generation Filipino American, I was an Asian parent's dream come true. I was a star student, overachiever, valedictorian, never got in trouble, always rolled with the right crowd. But even at an early age, I realized that I was different, that I felt different from the other boys in my class, and almost felt like I had a secret that I really didn't know what it was at the time at such a young age, but I felt like there was something that maybe didn't make me feel normal. And then as I got older, I think I started putting the pieces together. You know, I wasn't into sports as like the other guys, and I found myself hanging out with girls more than having crushes on them. And then I think as I became a teenager, I quickly realized that, I actually had crushes on boys. I ended up going to a high school in the city, and that really changed my world. It really opened up my world. Just even from commuting every day into Manhattan, I got exposed to different types of people from all walks of life. And so, when I turned 18, I was still in high school, and I started going to gay clubs, and also discovered this thing called AOL chat rooms. And from there, I quickly realized that this was me, that I was gay. And for the first time in a really long time, I felt this sense of community. I felt this sense of belonging. But at the same time, I did feel like I was leading this double life, because especially hiding this dark secret from the people that mattered to me the most, my friends, but also really my family, my parents. I went from being a very straight-laced kid, home, meeting my curfew, to being out all night and being out with people that they frankly never met before. And so this caused a lot of tension, a lot of stress, and a lot of fighting, a lot of tears, and really, really a lot of depression. So that summer before going to college was a great time because I really felt like myself for the first time, but it also was a really sad time too because I was really hiding who I felt like I really was to the people that I love the most. I went to college in Chicago, so I thought to myself, okay, having some distance, quite literal distance between my family would make things better. But when I came back from college, I think my parents thought that maybe my going out and not really and keeping my private life private from them was just a phase. But yeah, I think when I got back from college, it made things worse. Things didn't change, and I was still leading this double life, if you will, and that my parents had no idea about. So the fights continued, and at the same time, I was really coming into my own, I feel like, as an individual, and I knew that I was gay, and I knew that it was okay, and I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just being my authentic self. So I made a vow that before I went back to school, I would, by the end of that summer, I would come out to my parents. I kept pushing that date every day as summer went on, to the point where we were back in Chicago and my parents were moving me into my sophomore year dorm, and they were literally in the car driving back to New York, and I said, wait, I feel like we need to talk. So they got out of their car, we went for a walk around campus, and I came out to them. And I really wish I could tell you that it was like you see on TV, where there's all these hugs and kisses and there's this happy ending. But reality is rarely like that, right? So my parents were very pragmatic. They had questions. They said, "But you dated girls. If you're choosing to live this way, can't you choose not to?" It wasn't a sappy ending. I definitely knew that they still cared about me and they still loved me unconditionally, but I don't know. I think it's also when you're the child of immigrants, you wish that they had the words to comfort you in the way that you see on TV, but maybe they just didn't have the words, or it's not in their vocabulary to comfort me in the way that they know how. So it was a little disappointing on that side, but at the same time, I felt like this huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and for the first time, I could start taking steps to really being one person, the real me, and not leading this double life. And I have to say, things have been so much better ever since. And I think that my relationship with my family, in regards to me being gay, really improved once they met my partner, my boyfriend. I think, one, they realized he's a great guy, and but more importantly, I think they see how happy he makes me feel, and how innocent and honest and pure our love for each other is. And I think that really helped them come to terms with the fact that I'm where I need to be in my life, and I'm who I am, and I'm the happiest I've ever been, and I feel the most authentic because I get to love the way that I want to love. And 12 and a half years later, he goes on vacations with us. There is a Christmas stocking with his name on it in my home, which, if you're Filipino, you know Christmas decorations are a big deal. So little things like that really warm my heart, and we're getting married. So, I guess if I look back on my journey, the one thing I will say is that it takes time, and your coming out is an evolution. It's a long process, and I don't think it's even ended for me. But the moment you choose to come out, there's a lot of pain, and there's a lot of stress, and there's a lot that you'll go through. But to come out from the other side and really feel free and happy, and your true authentic self, it really makes it all worth it in the end.